Hello, noble viewers, and welcome to a very special edition of Bastard Plays Banished, in which I make up for the hideous mistake I made in not recording my audio on the top of this by bringing on a post-match special guest star. Say hello to Chris Coreline. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Hello. So now you get to watch me play Banished for approximately 45 minutes.
I am so honoured.
It's like a director's commentary, only neither as a director's or humans. So it's pretty good. That's some great clicking I'm doing right there.
Yeah. I was watching over some of the earlier videos in the series, just to remind myself. I see you went for the Three Wooden House opening. I'm just wondering how that stacks up in the current European meta game.
Well,
and do you think it's going to hold open for tournament play?
Well, yeah, that is the big question: is tournament play, isn't it? I mean, it is known as the Belgian opener, the Belgian Three Wooden House opener, which is something that is as effective in this as it is in Magic: The Gathering.
Yeah.
And ultimately, all I can say is that, in the long game, it doesn't pay out. But at that beginning, the beginning is so good that I couldn't let it go.
Yeah, absolutely. In the most recent DreamHack Moscow tournament, we saw Grubby actually go for the triple fishery opening, which was largely experimental, and there was a favourable reaction to Reddit on that. Do you think that that's going to adjust how you fight in kind of the early rounds, or?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, going into this game of Banished, it was obviously a big surprise to everyone that I chose Dulcine.
Yeah.
And I think, the fishery approach doesn't really work with Dulcine. And also, frankly, as one of my YouTube commenters pointed out, even without that opening 3 fishery mega combo, I have in fact got 8,000 spare fish in one of my storage barns.
Oh yes, I saw that in a recent one, which I know obviously you're just ladderer play at the minute, but that would be a huge shock if you were in a 1v1 map.
Yeah, and I just pulled out the fish, 8,000 fish, and hit them with it.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
People
who don't play video games, if you're watching this, it's fine to be confused because we're not making sense on purpose. Yeah. So
anyway, what I wanted to illustrate there, dear viewers, is that I haven't got a fucking clue how this game works.
Which is primarily why I thought I'd bring you along for basic comic relief.
Why is there a massive hole in the middle of your city near the graveyard?
There's a massive hole there because that is a quarry.
Okay.
So I've got stone cutters at work there digging some stone out. The problem with having a quarry, which I think I actually mentioned while I was talking to nothing, while I was recording myself, is that quarries are one of the only things in the game, along with mines. Basically, they can be used up.
Okay.
You reach the bottom of them, and then you can't remove them or fill them in any way. So they stay as this kind of blight on the map. And I believe later on I was talking about how it had been slightly foolish to place a quarry there, because there's an area which, if I had the mouse, I could show you where it was, down to the southwest of here, that's kind of just over a river, and is a good spot for just laying a whole load of quarries and mines down there. And it'll be a dead zone later, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. But to be honest, I probably wouldn't have been playing at that point anyway, because it's like, that would be kind of end game in Civilization 2, where everyone is irradiated.
Yeah.
And there's no point playing anymore, but people still do. Yeah.
Is those little orchards I keep seeing you whiz past?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of orchards in the game. They take a lot longer to start putting out than other forms of agriculture, but they're really reliable and they give you really good bursts of food.
Just like my last girlfriend.
They don't fuck up like a lot of farm crops do. You can have a really bad year for crops, and that can really throw you, and you end up with a bunch of starvation. But orchards are pretty fucking reliable. I like them. I like big orchards. I cannot lie.
Do they feed? I always knew you were a bit of a fruit.
Yeah.
Do they feed into a production chain then, or is it just hello, have some food?
Some things orchards produce. do feed into production chains. Later on in this episode, in fact, it's a shame I didn't record it, because it's the episode in which I finally actually build all the buildings and get an achievement for that.
Oh no!
But towards the left of the screen now, you can see one of those paused buildings. I'm actually going to end up building a tavern there.
Oh.
And some fruits.
Great cider.
Become alcohol. And cider is in fact the first thing I make. And then I make some cherry ale.
Wow.
Some berry ale as well.
So basically the whole...
The apples become apple ale, technically, not cider.
Well, cider is technically apple ale, technically. In fact, the Irish for cider is actually translates directly as apple ale.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have like I don't know what goes into ale. Like a grain thing in it, does it? It's just fermented fruit.
No,
it doesn't have I don't know.
You're not very good at alcoholism, are you?
Yeah.
Hops.
Hops. It doesn't have hops, does it? It's just fermented fruit. I think. Isn't it more like apple wine?
No, surely not.
Because there is apple wine, actually, isn't there? I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is my super pasture.
Yeah. Why are you hovering? No. Commit.
Yeah, no, because I thought it was silly. Because this is going to be meant to be the town centre, you see. And having a town centre, I want lots of houses nearby to kind of. So it has a purpose, basically. So that the chapel, they don't have far to go to the chapel or various other things. So I didn't want to take it up with a huge fucking pasture, so I put it up here instead.
Okay.
And then split the sheep I have near the trading post with this. So half going there, half going there. So I think I end up being able to put about 25 sheep in that pasture or something.
Wow.
Sheep-orama.
Oh, yeah. But not at the minute, because that looks like the start of winter.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm kind of, the idea is I'm building towards a town centre, which is something I still don't really have, which is shocking at this point in the game. I'm surprised I'm doing so well.
I think the problem is somewhat in the map generation, because it always gives you these really inconvenient mountain ranges, so you can't really build kind of traditional nuclear settlements. You have to string them out into these kind of production centres. And
I talked about that a couple of times, and I think I had really bad mountain placement in this one. You'll see here I get quite frustrated because there's no place I can precisely put another mine there. I have to put it in another place. And it's oddly kind of... Oh god, let's not talk about ludonarrative dissonance. But it is dissonant for me within Banished that you have all these hills and you can't do anything with them, because as a former archaeologist, or at least student of archaeology, part-time archaeologist, and, history nuts and all that kind of thing, so many cities and settlements are built around hills on purpose,
through them, and
for defensive purposes, because they've been pasture land, all sorts of stuff like that. So for me, weirdly in the back of my head, I'm like, but these are great hills.
Yeah,
the game they're just dead zones, basically.
Yeah.
It's just a shame. But modding is coming to the game, and the developer is working on new stuff for the game as well. Did you know this is just one developer?
Yeah, I did. But so is Dwarf Fortress, and I like the kind of prevailing autism in Dwarf Fortress. This is kind of like just a fairly straightforward Settlers clone. There's just something deeply lovely schizophrenic about Dwarf Fortress.
I will agree. I'm not a Dwarf Fortress fan. I don't think it's the game for me. But what I would say is that obviously this is prettier than Dwarf Fortress. It took less time. And for one guy, I think it's pretty impressive. I think the only thing he outsourced was the music.
Yeah.
It's pretty bloody impressive, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think the whole world's been crying out for a Settlers clone that isn't made by Ubisoft Blue Byte, whoever they are now, because they've just been killing the series since maybe Settlers 2. I
haven't played Settlers, probably since Settlers 2.
Yeah.
Not out of any kind of, oh god, well, how can they do this to Settlers? I just happened across it. Here I'm getting frustrated because you can't, in fact, remove roads at all. You can remove every other building or kind of thing you've built,
except
dead
roads.
Quarries and dead mines. You can't tear up roads, which seems odd.
I'm really sad that the voice recording is lost for this, because there's nothing I enjoy more than the sound of your frustration.
There were elements that were quite frustrating, but it was also it was also... There was some good stuff happened. Here I am discovering that I already have an apple orchard and therefore will reject this apple seed trader. But, crucially, I did not realise, which I realised later in this episode, that to plant another apple orchard, you need more apple seeds. So I could have got him off him, really. I could have swapped him for a lot of fish.
You could certainly have done that.
Fish for apples, fish for apples.
But this is, this is the kind of, here's what I would have done if I'd have known what I did when I didn't.
Yeah,
episode.
Like I say, it's one of those classic director's commentaries, like Peter Jackson on Lord of the Rings, or Michael Bay on his upcoming Family Nest grim and gritty adaptation.
Oh, bless him.
Bless him so much. I don't hate him. I don't care about him. I don't care.
Wow.
Michael Bay, I know you're watching, and I don't care that you exist.
Oh, bless him. I've been struggling to find a movie I want to go and see recently. I'm still waiting for that Jupiter Ascendant to come out.
I still don't know what that is.
It's the new... It's the guys who made Matrix have made a space opera.
Oh, the Wachowskis.
Yeah.
They've made a space opera.
Yeah.
Well, see, to me, space opera says kind of melodrama to a certain degree. And the one thing they're really fucking bad at is melodrama, or at least in The Matrix. I don't know, I suppose it's not melodrama, is it?
No, it's kind of high. It's kind of... Basically, it's just bells and whistles.
Star Wars is technically a space opera, isn't it?
Yeah. It's that kind of big, wide, scoopy plot thing.
Yeah, epic thing.
Epic, exactly. Epic TM.
I don't know, Chris.
Ooh, here we go. The big clear out.
Oh, yes. Lots of lovely stone and iron there for me to salvage. And then probably complain about my labourers spending all their time salvaging it instead of carrying stuff to building sites.
Pig iron, you must be playing somewhere in Sweden then.
In my head, I've always thought that Banished was set entirely in Sweden.
Well, if there's iron coming out of the ground, it would certainly match with kind of feudal era Sweden.
See, you learn something new every day with viewers.
Go viewers. That's the reason Sweden was nearly a superpower.
That and Gustavus Adolphus.
Yeah.
One of the finest late medieval military generals and soldiers. And an underrated leader in Civilization 5 as well. I think.
How can you play him in Civ 5? OMG!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he gets... what's the thing? It's something like if you ally with Sweden, you get extra stuff on research agreements and extra happiness or something.
Oh
so
my god.
You can build big pacts really easily because everyone wants to ally with you. So it's kind of an opening to sort of maybe a diplomatic victory or piggybacking on someone else's victory and stuff like that.
Well, at least that's semi-historically accurate. He was all about the triple kingdom and...
Yeah. Diplomacy veiled in the gauntlet of war was what Gustavus was all about.
Yeah, there you go, viewers. Yeah. Comment, like, subscribe.
Yeah. I just uploaded. I didn't actually. Overnight, Chris, I'm going to upload our latest Autumn Star video. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel slightly moist.
Good. It was a good one. It was a good one.
It was a good one. We have to make some kind of decision about what we're going to do about the failure. We have to replay that map at some point.
Oh, to try and beat it.
Yeah. Was that a small pasture?
I kind of revel in our failure.
Yeah.
It kind of feels normal again. These the videos we've been recording feel like a bit of an anomaly.
I don't know, I think it's just testament to how easy that game is.
I'm worried. I'm actually genuinely worried that my viewers will build a picture of me that isn't true, because I'm doing really well in Banished. I'm doing shockingly well in XCOM at the moment. We're doing fairly well in Optimus Die. I think Bioshock is definitely telling the true tale of the tape. But, yeah. I worry that they'll think I'm competent.
Cropfield, eh? So much for your town centre plan, you hypocrite.
No, I just didn't want a whole pasture there. But we've got to have something for them to work on. But I'll pad out the rest of it, I imagine, in houses, unless I don't in like 5 minutes time, and I've completely forgotten what I've done, which is like cool. So yeah, we're building the tavern now. You see.
See, you've got the town, but you haven't got the planning, which means you're not very good at town planning.
No, which is just as well because that isn't my job.
Yeah.
The tavern's an odd one. I get a bit. I don't really understand how they do it because sometimes, like, I'll have ordered them to make apple beer, and I look in the tavern and they have a supply of apples and a supply of beer, but there's a big question mark over it saying worker cannot work as he doesn't have supply. I don't really understand how they work. I just kind of every now and then I switch to a different kind of beer.
Just to cycle through it.
Kind of just do it. Yeah. I don't really know.
Oh, look at the chicken fondler.
I did. Was it in this one or the previous one where I noted that? It was actually right then. We've actually just missed it. But there were 13 chickens in there, and it can hold 12 chickens. So one of the chickens is up for it. And I was like, oh, I wonder if it shows it, and it just showed like the herdsman just goes over to the chicken, and then the chicken vanishes. But it doesn't have like a little neck wringing animation or anything.
But that's pretty good. I like its understated sinister. Understatedly sinister.
See, I thought it'd be far more sinister if they like led them into the little hut on the side. Like, come with me.
Come with me. I have some special corn for you.
Special corn for you. Oh, special corn. Oh, it's hug time.
Oh, top 10 sinister.
That's what I tell all the chickens I kill. It's hug time.
No, t-shirt. That's your first t-shirt. You need a t-shirt.
I've never killed a chicken.
Well, you haven't lived.
I've never killed a chicken, Chris. And I'm so close to death. We all are kids, eh?
I want to do kind of like... Do people actually have physical copies of bucket lists? Because I want to have like a special one that's just specifically designed to horrify people. And like that would be on it.
Kill wildlife.
Yeah. Murder chicken.
Well, not wildlife.
Murder chicken in front of child. Murder chicken in front of child after allowing the child to form emotional bond with chicken. Bucket list complete.
Yeah. That's the only 3 things I want. But not at the same time. Yeah. So, Banished?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It certainly is pastoral.
Have you never played Banished, Chris? You've never experienced the joy of Banished, have you?
No, I played Dwarf Fortress. 2, I played Settlers. So, look, this is basically Dwarf Fortress plus Settlers equals Banished.
Yeah. But you've never specifically played Banished before. I wasn't doing it in a kind of union and played Banished. I just meant for the viewer, for the purposes of the viewer, maybe they think I'm just completely patronising you by explaining things to you. But you have in fact never played Banished.
No. Good. I will get it when it is on more of a sale.
Because you are cheap.
Because I am cheap.
Yes.
And Banished is not.
It's, I don't know, I think it's worth the price, but it's certainly more than most games developed by one dude.
Yeah. Also, I mean...
But then it looks, it's better than most games developed by one dude, so... Yeah, it's definitely a fun little game. It's very relaxing.
Yeah.
When I'm playing it and not recording, because recording isn't particularly relaxing, I kind of almost veg out to it. It's very chilled. Super
pastoral.
Yeah.
Should have Oculus Rift support. I'd love to walk around this little village.
Yeah,
it'd be good, though.
It had a kind of old dungeon keeper-esque thing where you could zoom in and possess one of your villagers and then get a knife and
start killing chickens.
Yeah, that's a really different kind of game. Someone mod that in.
Yeah.
Please, someone mod that in. I want to go on a killing spree in Leldorin. I want to resurrect Normando's corpse and wander around the village with a sickle, murdering people.
Saint Normando.
Because there isn't enough murder in video games.
Your games, yeah, exactly. I need to. We need to make this. Why are you making a pasture?
I'm trying to put something in the spot where I had a stockpile, but everything's too small apart from a crop field. So I put a little crop field in there.
That's adorably redundant.
Make a little pumpkin patch.
Okay. Small holding.
Yes. I, of course, reference to Sickle Murder there. Also a reference to And the Ass Saw the Angel by Nick Cave, the book I'm currently reading.
Congratulations.
It's alright. I've read books before.
Good.
This is my first book rodeo.
Is there can I go to a book rodeo? Would you take me? Could we be kind of like book rodeo partners?
I'll take you to the book rodeo, Chris.
I'm pretty sure that's a song.
What was the bizarre sexual euphemism we came up with in the last Orcs Must Die video?
I don't want to even think about that. I've managed to get it out of my head. Is the tavern the stone building that's taking forever to the right of this building?
No,
that's
hall.
I see.
Town Hall is the biggest building in the game. It's massive. It takes a lot of stone and iron and wood. And is also kind of largely useless.
Okay. Prestige.
It gives you stats, which I suppose could be helpful if you're trying to min-max the game, but I think that's probably a fool's errand. The one thing it does allow you to do, you can't take in nomads unless you have a town hall. And basically nomads just turn up every now and then. Once you build a town hall, sometimes they wander onto the map and kind of hang around near the edge of your village, and you'll get an alert and you click in and it'll say 34 nomads wish to just join your town. Do you want them to join or not? So you can get like quick little population bursts, but of course you've got to have room to take them in, which is partly why I now have a boarding house.
I see.
Also, a boarding house is a great indicator of when you have enough housing, because if people are living in your boarding house and you haven't taken any nomads in, you don't have enough houses. So, yeah, it's a good little building hub.
Yeah.
I believe at this point I start kind of expanding this little southern satellite settlement a bit more.
Wow, the SSS.
Yes, with a herbalist, maybe, or a gatherer, something like that, and a couple of extra houses and things. It's all about those satellite settlements in Banished, because there's so many good things that you can get from what's essentially wilderness. You've got to maintain that wilderness, so you need to keep it aside from your.
This is just all of these games have this same function where it's important to maintain the surrounding area. I think a lovely direction for this game to go would be to kind of shift the resource patterns and progress through kind of ages where different resources have different values, so you get kind of a pseudo-industrial revolution where coal becomes really important, and then you get
That'd be fun.
an interesting bit of programming for somebody.
Indeed, I now have a second mine at this point in the video, I think, and I am in fact excavating coal, which will allow me to build steel tools at some point, which will make everyone work slightly better than they are.
Nice.
Merchant arrives with lots of just random shit food. I think I buy some plums.
Mutton, plum. He has 1,000.
He has 1,000 plums on his ship.
Sell him fish.
And 1,000 wheats.
And cherries.
And 2,000 peaches. 250 beefs. Yeah, I think I give him a load. Fish for plums. Fish for plums. Oh, I'll get some beef as well, because I don't have any cows. I need cows.
Fish for beefs.
So I can gnaw on them in the paddock.
This is basically Settlers of Catan Online.
The latest MMO coming to you.
Yeah.
Free to play.
There was a version of that on Xbox Live, actually. I remember getting it.
Yeah.
It was okay.
I have a thing where I enjoy a lot of nerdy pursuits, but I have not experienced the most stereotypical elements of those nerdy pursuits. So here's just three examples for you. I play a load of video games. I've never played Mario. I've never played Final Fantasy. Like, lots of things like that.
You played Sonic the Hedgehog, though, yeah?
I have played Sonic.
Okay, that's alright. We can still be friends.
I've been engaged in role-playing, in the pursuit of tabletop roleplay, since I was 10 or 11. I've never played Dungeons & Dragons. Never.
Statistically
In my life.
unlikely.
And I am a board game aficionado. Incidentally, the previous 2 role-playing board games will find their way onto a town called Bastard in the near future, particularly role-playing, which will probably be in the next couple of weeks. So I'm
Comment,
a
like,
board
subscribe.
game aficionado, and I've never played Settlers of Catan.
I'd say
Or
of
Ticket
all
to
of the
Ride.
things you mentioned, as long as you have played Sonic the Hedgehog, Settlers of Catan is such an elegant little game that it's probably worth playing.
I thought you were going to say, since you mentioned Sonic the Hedgehog, Settlers of Catan is in many ways the board gaming equivalent.
Yeah, it literally is. You have to make the fastest go faster, stronger, fast. Gotta go fast.
Yes.
Yes.
And of course, the main villain of Settlers of Catan is a fat ginger man with a big moustache.
Yeah, well, that's not entirely incorrect. There's the soldier, which is a kind of a similar kind of narratively
Chris.
similar to Dr. Robotnik.
Chris.
I can do this. I can do this. Just trust me.
You're
Trust
risking-
me,
you're risking-
man.
you're
Just
risking an
once.
awful lot.
Totally.
Before it's too late.
All games are the same game.
Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to split these sheep.
Oh,
Not like
oh.
that.
Oh,
Um,
God. Oh, you're a horrible person.
Nonsense.
Take sheep into you.
There we go. I like seeing them being sheep. I was saying the sheep equivalent of shepherding. I like seeing them being shepherded,
Herded.
down because they get moved like a herdsman goes, come on, and moves them around. I like it, but I think I don't even watch it. I think I just scroll away and then it happens.
Go over here.
I like it.
Cry into your wilderness zone.
So
Cry
do you feel,
into your
Chris,
wilderness zone.
It is like a Top Gun song. Do you feel that by watching this and providing this commentary that you are gaining deep and meaningful insight into both Banished and me as a person?
It's certainly something to do while I finish digesting my halloumi wrap, which I had for dinner.
Good.
I would
I'm
say
glad
there
you
is-
had dinner.
There is literally nowhere else I would rather be right now than on a yacht in the Azores. But you're like top 50. Top 50.
Sheep.
Oh look, I missed it.
Moving along.
Bless
Yeah. Oh, and I'm making fancier coats.
Oh,
I'm
I saw a
making some
tunnel.
Wool coat. Yes.
You got
I'm
loads of
making-
tunnels. Cool.
Yeah, I'm making some wool coats from the sheep as well.
Oh, it's proper Yorkshire. They smell bad when it rains.
Proper Yorkshire. Incidentally, viewers, we are allowed to say that because I live in Yorkshire and Chris used to.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's fine. Also, by blood, I'm allowed to mock anything Yorkshire because I'm from Lancashire. So it's not only expected of me, but if I didn't do that, if I don't mock Yorkshire at least once a month, Lancashire death squads will turn up to drown me in hot pots.
Lancastrian death squads.
No,
Surely.
No, they wouldn't be from Lancaster. Lancastrian is from Lancaster, not Lancashire.
Lancashire. No, Jackie. Lannisterian. Lannister. That's what that was. The whole thing. Starks, Yorkshire, Lannister, Lancashire. Totally. 100%. Don't even that.
interesting
It's
because
known
obviously-
fact.
No, it's interesting because, of course, George R. R. Martin did base a lot of the notion of the Song of Ice and Fire series on the War of the Roses, but I'm not sure a direct comparison can be drawn. I guess the Starks kind of are Yorkshire, but Lannisters aren't particularly Lancashire-like. They're all rich and stuff.
Yeah. And ugly.
Although the House of Lancaster was very rich, but
So was the House of York.
But Lancashire wasn't. But also the House of Lancaster wasn't particularly based in Lancashire, and the House of York wasn't particularly based in Yorkshire.
Well, there you go now. Yet more facts.
There we go. Yeah,
So-
you're getting your money's worth, viewers, and you don't
Yeah.
even pay me anything.
Yet.
That was super sinister. I like that. Anyway, yeah, Minecraft.
Oh, Mojang, Microsoft, rah rah rah. Yeah.
I came up with a lovely little coupler for this, which just describes the entire situation, and I just want to kind of lay it down as a fact bomb on the internet. Everyone
Truth coming from MC Coreline.
Super truth. Everyone in the games industry wanted to be Notch, except Notch.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. I
also drew some parallels between my own retirement from music and Notch's.
Yeah, exactly. I read his statement. I thought it was pretty, I can respect that. Exactly. Especially given, I'd be surprised if the whole Gamergate thing hadn't influenced him to a certain degree as well. Obviously, it doesn't kind of directly hit him.
Yeah.
But, it's evidence of the toxic community.
Yeah, that's just it, though. I think people are starting to twig onto this, and I think developers specifically are starting to go, we don't have to fund this. I can do other things.
Exactly, and I think a lot of developers who are kind of under the cosh with this kind of thing, particularly like people doing smaller indie things or solo things, plenty of them will hold their ground and dig in their heels, and quite rightly so. But many of them, equally rightly so, will go, you know what, fuck this.
Yeah.
I can go somewhere else, a place where people won't accuse me of awful things just because they think they know what I should and shouldn't do because they
are repressed children.
Don't even purchase my games. And, all that
so,
nonsense.
Just to segue back on the Banished for 15 seconds, at what point? Because I've watched a couple of other Let's Plays. Actually, a long time ago, I watched some Let's Plays. I think it was Aruba, actually.
Would have those been? Did you not watch any of the Quill 18?
Maybe, I can't remember. It was at the stage where I was on a huge Crusader Kings 2 buzz. We should totally do a Crusader Kings 2 series. And I kind of was watching everything that came out of Aruba and quite a lot of stuff that came out of Quill 18. And they both did a fair stint on Banished. So,
for anyone interested, actually, you should definitely watch Quill 18 stuff. He's kind of been our technical guru on how to set this up and kind of the best way to do things. I should emphasize, he doesn't know that, or us. In any way, but we watched a few. He's produced a couple of really good technical videos on how to do Let's Plays, and they kind of sort of inspired me to start doing it, and I took a lot of inspiration from that, and I basically use all the same gear as him. But he's very good. He's also not a tool, which is quite rare for Let's Players. I mean, we certainly are tools. But yeah.
I'm a hammer. Yeah. Anyway, I was going somewhere with that. Yeah. At what point in this game do you stop worrying about winter?
I have not worried about winter even slightly in this game.
Wow.
Because right at the beginning I set up a tailor. It was pretty much the first thing I did after houses. And I set up a hunter. I made sure that I had enough hunting cabins to produce leather. I'm not worried about winter in the slightest. I have an overabundance of houses, an overabundance of fuel. I'm fine.
So that's kind of a recent patch, European metagame kind of modification.
Yeah. We've moved on. I think when the expansion packs came out, the fuel and tailoring expansion pack that came out in April 2007, I think. That really changed the winter game for a lot of people.
And just remember the winter game is such an evocative memory of those tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, though, that was back in the days when, these were just won by people with the highest click rates and anyone who fought as Raiden.
Yeah. Wow, Stone Road.
As if a Mortal Kombat tournament would exist.
It's most certainly occasionally does, yes. I do occasionally watch the fighting tournaments, but I don't really understand them too much.
They're an aspect of gaming that is almost entirely arcane to me. I suspect. So viewers, I am an American football NFL fan, and it's the kind of game where if you don't know what the rules are and how it works, people will watch a game who aren't interested, like who aren't into it, but are watching it with you or whatever, and they will just stare blankly at the screen saying, I have no idea what's going on. It's not a very intuitive game in the same way that, football is regular football, soccer if you're American, or tennis or something like that. They're much more intuitive to watch. I get that same feeling when I read a review of a beat 'em up.
Yeah.
I'm just going, super combos?
Yeah.
Lightning mega attacks?
Yeah.
Well, and it's all talking about it in such coached, precise, not just critical but analytical terms, you know? Like a sports commentator, and I'm out. Last time I played a beat 'em up was like Mortal Kombat 2, where it was just, a man hit someone with a hat, and that is my level of understanding of the game.
Yeah, I think a lot of this stuff is the whole esports thing is very kind of, once you're in it, and I don't think it's down to beat 'em ups. I think if you were to watch kind of StarCraft commentary, you'd be kind of fairly confused about some of the stuff that's going on, because there's obviously discussion like, oh, he's winning, but there's also the discussion of kind of Tutu Ling being
you've read the StarCraft stuff before, and I don't understand a thing of it. Like, they'll be doing stuff and RTS stuff is happening and strategy is being strategied, and then all of a sudden a player will do something that looks utterly insignificant to me, and the commentators will go, "Whoa, he's got it!" And then
Game over.
Later he'll win. Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that. It's almost like a coded language. It's kind of like it's nice to be able to spot that a game is over when it's over, rather than when the impact of the mistake or the decision.
That are over when they are actually over.
Yeah.
Food merchants. I think I get some pecans off this guy.
Wow. Can you plant them?
No. I think you. Or maybe you can. Well,
cabbage as well.
I could plant pecan seeds specifically. Yeah.
Venison as well.
I already get venison. That's what my hunting cabin's bringing.
Okay.
From all the.
Sounds very fancy. You're overpaying considerably there.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to type it in properly.
Oh, I see what you're doing here. You're basically just, working out your exchange rate, buying all the pecans. Please, sir, give me all your pecans. This is a pro-pecan town.
Pecans for fish.
Pecans for fish. That's my new show band. I have realised that I've been recording this entire session on my crummy microphone. I forgot to switch back to the good microphone after our Borderlands 2 session last night.
Oh, you sound alright. Borderlands 2, we should mention that, because it might be upcoming maybe at some point. If we, well, one certainly is upcoming. Yeah, so people who braved it this far through this completely random Banished interlude, here's a preview to what's coming later in the year. Me and Chris are currently smack bang near the end of a four-player Borderlands 2 main game playthrough. But what we may well do is record the DLC playthrough, so all 4 major DLCs. We may record those for you guys. But what we will certainly do is Borderlands the pre-sequel comes out October the something, sometime in the middle of the month.
Yep.
And myself and Chris will be recording a 2-player playthrough of that for you, especially for you.
Especially you.
I mean you. You know who I mean. You know.
Totally still dibs on Claptrap, just to spoil it.
Yeah, Chris will take Claptrap because he will cry if I don't let him take Claptrap.
Precisely.
I don't know who I'll take it. I don't know who I'll take it, although apparently Wilhelm hates him, so I might take Wilhelm. Yeah. We're big Borderlands fans here at the Town Called Bastard.
Everyone's a big Borderlands fan, just some people haven't quite realised it yet.
You'd be surprised how many games journalists are not big Borderlands fans at all. In fact, my PC gaming website of choice, Rock Paper Shotgun, which you should totally read, everyone who watches this, they're not big fans of Borderlands at all.
Well,
they're not keen on it. They seem quite bored by it, and the people who frequent RPS as well, a lot of the people in the forums are extremely nonplussed to negative about it. So there we go.
Well, they're wrong.
They are.
Oh, the town
wrong.
hall's
It's the
finished.
third
Wow.
set of games. Oh yeah, that was finished about 20 minutes ago.
I'm only just paying
Good that you're
attention.
keeping
Though.
up. I'm now building a chapel. Because if there's anything the embittered, downtrodden citizens of Leldar in need, it's organised religion. Just to make their life just a little bit more subjugated.
Well, it's all about convincing them that there's something after this pointless slog to oblivion.
There isn't.
There isn't. Can you plant gardens in this, or is that not?
No gardens.
That's a shame because you can't.
Or anything like that.
You can't really make it kind of square, though, can you?
Oh, someone modding a zoo.
Oh God.
Someone basically modding every single building in Civilization,
Yeah. And SimCity.
including Wonders. Yeah, I'm going for a massive building burst here because I've got a load of labourers and stuff like that. So look how quick they're clearing that iron off the marketplace. Look at those piles of iron.
So that's the market then, is it?
That's going to be the market.
Wow. Look at this. It's all coming together. I feel like we've had a journey and we're near the destination.
I know. I feel like somehow I feel like we're 3 minutes from ending this commentary.
Wow, is it? Is that time already? Oh wow, look at that. That blue bar is surprisingly far across. Wow.
Download VLC, people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, I'm pretty much sure they don't have blue progress bars copyrighted, so...
Wouldn't put it past me. I tried to code a progress bar. It's surprisingly difficult. I wasn't C.
Was it difficult because you tried to code it on a Satsuma?
No, I tried to code it on an Apple using C.
I see.
I
didn't even intend that. With Comedy Gold. Just dropped it from my lips.
Comedy Bronze, if you're lucky.
Comedy, what are the really crappy early marriage anniversary things?
Pewter. Comedy pewter.
Comedy pewter.
I don't think pewter is a thing unless you're an archaeologist. Comedy, I'd like this paper, isn't there?
Pewter is a thing if you played Games Workshop games in the early 90s.
Wow, did they make them under pewter back then?
They did. It was a pewter mix, a pewter lead mix, I believe.
Oh, was it? Okay. That was
to make it cheaper than lead.
Yeah,
that
was
Workshop business practices. Cut down their overheads as much as possible while raking it in from gullible teenagers.
Hence the plastic models.
They've done something a bit controversial in the last few days. They have reprinted Space Hulk.
Oh,
but it's a completely limited run, and it's already sold out.
Ah, fair enough.
You'll still be able to get some in physical shops if you rush viewers, but their online stuff is completely sold out, and I think it was 2 days ago or something.
Well,
I didn't know why they did this. I've always been confused as to why they don't reprint Blood Bowl and Necromunda and Space Hulk and all these really popular games, or if you're my friend Darren, Dark Future.
What was Dark Future?
It was like a Mad Max style racing combat thing.
God, that must have been a long time ago.
Yeah, in the 80s, definitely.
Yeah.
It was the kind of thing where when I got a Games Workshop catalogue in the very early 90s, I'd look through their alternate games at the back of the catalogue, and I'd see Dark Future, and I'd think, in the early 90s, wow, that looks dated. So, yeah. But apparently, and this was interesting, I was reading this on the Shut Up and Sit Down forums. Everyone out there, go to Shut Up and Sit Down and watch it religiously. And a couple of people were saying they do this because they want to drum up, bring people back into the fold by people going, hey, Games Workshop are doing these good things, and maybe I should think them. But they don't keep them in print because they're too good a source of cheap miniatures.
Okay. I don't know.
Apparently, I don't know.
Well,
also,
I'd like another.
They posted a profit margin 50% lower than last year.
Wow.
50%.
That's getting tricky for them. It might also be trademark defense. If they don't reprint Blood Bowl or something like that for too long, it's probably just going to disappear.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. Hey, there we go. I just built a market, which means I built every building.
Yeah.
And
That's the end.
Yeah, that's the end. Really, that's achievement town sorted. So there we go. Thanks for watching.
Congratulations on your achievement.
I am very proud of it. And we'll see you next time for Banished without Chris. Bye.